Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for more fantasy talk. I hope you guys are excited. I got two very special guests with me. I have our returning champion, 21 Reasons, Mr. James Helm.
What's happening?
And also, right next to him, we have our Vikings guy, the cursed one, Sean Saunders. How you doing, sir?
I was doing fine. From Dallas, Texas, full Vikings. So
Nice. All right, so we are here today to go over our draft. Football season's so damn close, and I know we're all pretty fucking excited for it. So before we jump into that, I just kind of want to see the lovely little trophy that we're all fighting for again.
with my name on it.
I can't wait to have that motherfucker on my wall.
Put Josh's name on it.
That's right.
I'm gonna actually this may help y'all out a little bit. There we go.
Nice.
It's
Never miss a beat. Never miss a beat.
It's beautiful.
I like it. Can't wait. All right, so let's jump into the draft. We had one new guy with us this year, Joey, and I think he dove right in. He did pretty well. But let's cover them one by one. Our first round picks throughout the first round for each player. Starting out, we had Julio Jones to Dustin, number 1 overall. That could have been a reach, taking a receiver at the first pick overall. Although the league is changing, it feels like it is moving towards that. What do you think about that, James?
It is. I mean, fantasy in general is, the receivers surge, but I actually, I'm old school. I look at it as the receiver position is so deep to where most receivers, or excuse me, most teams have a 3 wide receiver base offense. Most there's few that run the 2 receiver eye, but most it's 3 wide as their base offense. So if you just go by the math, that means there's 96 starting wide receivers in the NFL, where there's only 32 starting running backs. So I don't blame Dustin for going Julio. If Julio fell to me at 3, he was the number 1 player available on the big board. So I don't blame him, but I feel like you can get other receivers that can hit bonuses later in the draft versus grabbing one of the ones in the first round. But I don't fault him going Julio. In my opinion, Julio and DeAndre Hopkins were the only 2 first-round picks, besides Antonio Brown and Odell, who are keepers, that I have a first-round grade on. So I don't blame Dustin at that. He just gambled if any running backs would fall to him at the end of the second. But right. I don't blame that. I think that was consensus of the league, was everyone had him going Julio 1, him being a Falcon fan, or maybe Devontae Freeman. But everyone I talked to was like, their mocks had Dustin going Julio, and I don't blame him.
Nice, yeah. He's definitely a top 3 receiver, so we'll see how it pans out for him. The second pick we had went to Creamer. He took Ezekiel Elliott, so that one felt like kind of a reach to me too, being a rookie. Don't know exactly how he's going to do. What do you think about that, Sean?
I don't like it. Solid running back in college. Obviously a first-round pick for a reason, behind a great offensive line with the Cowboys. Honestly, I don't see I think I can see risk there. I don't see the explosiveness that I think we would see from someone that just comes out of the ground running like Adrian Peterson. I think he'll get 1,000 yards. I think he'll have flashes of greatness, but I don't think he'll have the consistency of a fantasy player to make it worth a number 2 overall pick. That's my thoughts.
So where would you put him on in that first? Would he even be a first round pick for you?
Absolutely not. I honestly don't think I'd take him. Maybe until maybe the 4th or 6th or maybe 7th round. That's just me.
Can I just play devil's advocate?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'll do it quickly. I see Creamer's. I see the method to his madness. 2 years ago, DeMarco Murray behind that offensive line was the number 1 running back in fantasy football with 1,800 yards. Last year, Darren McFadden, who didn't start until October, who I drafted, by the way, ended up the 6th best running back in our league behind that offensive line. So I completely I get he's a rookie, but that offensive line and that offense has produced basically 2 top 5 running backs back-to-back years. So I don't have a problem with the pick. Second overall, I'm with you, but I definitely have, maybe that's a bit of a reach. But if I was sitting in like, we did in other league, other people were in other leagues, and if I'm sitting at like 7 or 8, 9 range in my other drafts, I'll definitely take Ezekiel Elliott. So that's just a little counter argument to the Seanster.
All right. Well, the next pick was yours. So you took David Johnson. He seemed like a real solid pick to me. Definitely a good running back. That's my style too. I grabbed those running backs early. So what was your thought process behind that one?
We're in the minority. Sean's smirking. Freeman, couldn't believe I reached for him at 3. Everyone thought I was going Freeman or Hopkins, which I was leaning that way. And then I looked at David Johnson. He basically started the last month of the season last year, and I'm pretty sure no one had a better December than he did as far as running backs. And then I watched the Amazon Prime series All or Nothing, which followed the 2015 Cardinals from training camp last year all the way up to the NFC Championship game. And I see him being a top 3 running back in fantasy this year. So it is a little bit of a reach. I was talking to Sean about this yesterday. He's not just only in this league, and he thinks Mark Ingram. I think he's picking 7th or 8th in another league, and I was like, you should take David Johnson. That's where he's scheduled to go. Yeah. And he's all about Mark Ingram in that spot. But I'm all in. I'm all in on the David Johnson bandwagon. We'll see.
Nice. Yeah. I actually, during my preparation, which I didn't watch the shows or anything, but I actually had Johnson right above Freeman for me. So if he had fallen to 5, he probably would have been on my board. So then after that, we had Lamar Miller to Chris Nelson. And Lamar Miller has been a good running back in Miami for a while now, and now he's over in Houston, I believe. So it's a decent back in a new system. So how do you feel about that at 4, Sean?
I have mixed feelings, and before I start that, I just want to tell James that I also watched the movie Rudy, but I didn't draft an undersized linebacker with my first pick, so...
I mean, if you want to bet...
Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong.
If you would like to put some money on who's going to have a better season in our league only, with our scoring, between Mark Ingram or David Johnson, I'm willing to do that.
Let me look and see who the executive producers of this show were to see how much they hyped up this player. But you do have both of his handcuffs. Anyways, not important right now. We're going to the number 4 overall pick with Lamar Miller. I don't like it, but there's a lot of critics that have very good arguments that are against that, and that makes me a little bit nervous. He was underutilized in a Dolphins offense or team. I lived pretty close to Miami for 14 years of my life. I got to see mediocrity and bandwagon fans. There was just nothing there. I mean, he's a young guy. He has a lot going for him. And Houston does have some more offensive weapons that are a lot more explosive than the Dolphins, which I think would open up Lamar Miller's potential. Now, because he's never performed in my standards, that's why I wouldn't pick him. I don't like taking risks on players that haven't shown anything before. Yards per catch, that doesn't matter to me. Those are manipulable statistics that you can have a great catch-up game when you're losing big. And we all know the Patriots won that division, 13 out of 16 times. So, I haven't seen anything from him. But on paper, he looks like a legit running back for an up-and-coming team that might have an explosive offense. And there's also instability at the quarterback. So that's another concern I have, too, with Brock Osweiler. So.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with most of that. I think I feel a little more positive about the situation than you do. Maybe 4 was a reach, but right. That's right around the area where I feel okay with it.
Here's the thing: Nelson traded up from 11 with Sean to get Miller. So
that's true. Yeah.
That's something else. We shouldn't forget. I mean, we were talking about it in the group earlier, and like I'm telling you, Nelson's all in on Miller. But it sounds like Sean disagrees with pretty much the first
Yeah.
three of the first four picks. Do you see any being
Not the first four, just the ones I've been asked about.
Well, under not Julio, but I'm just saying 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, yeah.
You don't have any of those as first round picks. I just want this on the record because I do.
I'm sure it'll be on the show.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to my pick at number 5. I grabbed Devonta Freeman. He was the number 2 back in our league last year. Number 1 in other leagues, but that's inconsequential. So, you know, I saw before I grabbed him, I saw, you know, that they were planning on lessening his workload. But him falling to me there, not getting Johnson, I kind of felt that he was the best left on the board for me. And, you know, I'm just kind of hoping that while they're trying to move away from him, they're not going to, because everything else sucks. So hopefully he's going to stay their cowbell. What do you think, James?
I mean, he balled his first 4 or 5 starts. He came out crazy. He struggled down the stretch, and I've talked to Falcon fans in the league and other Falcon fans not in the league, and it's kind of mixed. I'd say the majority, they're on the Devonta Freeman bandwagon. There's a few that make the point that Coleman was a starter going into last season. He got hurt, I think, week 1 or week 2, and then Freeman got the opportunity and ran with it. So we'll wait and see. I mean, I took Coleman late for either trade bait to you because you got Freeman or somebody else, or if Freeman loses the job. But he is walking into training camp as a starter.
Right.
I agree. He was the best available player. It was a toss-up between him or Hopkins at 5 where you were picking. So
nice. All right, moving on to B's pick. He grabbed DeAndre Hopkins, who was one of the top 2 receivers as far as a lot of the analysts go. So another receiver goes off the board at 6. How do you feel about that, Sean?
I do like it. I still do not have any faith in Brock Osweiler, and because of that, you could have an anemic offense. However, I don't think they're going to have an anemic player. DeAndre Hopkins has done well with worse quarterbacks, and he did well at Clemson. He's a solid player. And what I was going to say about Julio is, I mean, he can take the worst of the situation and still come out with great fantasy stats. And his consistency is going to get him targets if the offense improves either way, because he's their go-to guy. With that, I think it's a great pick, and I think it's a solid pick, and it's what you want out of a first-rounder. So, good job, Bern.
Cool. Joe was up next. He grabbed Eddie Lacy pretty late.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
Yeah, he grabbed him at number 7. So I kind of felt that was good value that far down in the round. I don't remember exactly how well he did last year. I know he was one of the better running backs, though. What do you think, James?
He was a first top 5 pick last year, and he was pretty much overweight the whole season. That was Sean's little jab at him. So he's fine. And supposedly, from what I've read, he went into mini camp, which is about a month ago, underweight, and he is at training camp, which just launched either I believe today or yesterday. Most of the teams started today, but a few started yesterday. He showed up underweight. Eddie's one of those guys. If he comes in underweight, he's got a ton of potential just because of the offense. I mean, they're going to spread you out 3 and 4 wide receivers. You're not going to have 8 or even 7 in the box against an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. So he's been going mid-second, a lot of mocks. But you know, I mean, I don't hate the pick. If Joe's goal was to go running back in the first, I don't hate the pick because it's starting. I mean, as you can see, it's starting to get slim pickings with the first few picks and then the keepers. So I don't hate the pick. I maybe a little high, but
okay. So Sean, the next guy off the board was Ingram. Do you feel Joe should have went with him instead of Lacy, or how do you feel about that pick?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers led offense, unfortunately, is going to be explosive, and because he's a passer, that means a lot of PPR potential for Lacey. But wait, is that the pick we're talking about, or are you talking about Ingram?
Ingram versus Lacey.
Yeah, Ingram went right after
Oh,
Lacey.
well, Lacey, again, inconsistency on his side. I mean, I get it. He did P90X in the offseason. I did P90X. I didn't get a contract. So whatever he decided not to, like, he gave up snacks or fruit roll-ups or whatever, you know, all for him. It shows excellence. And, Aaron Rodgers, I said, is definitely going to raise his value. But definitely would have chose Ingram in a heartbeat. I did research on Ingram. I think he's the next Deuce McAllister, just personally. And I think that the Saints' offense has been slimmed down a little bit to increase Ingram's efficiency and potential.
Right.
I'm trying to look and see exactly what I was thinking. It's still been a couple weeks. I mean, Drew Brees is still, he's still an elite quarterback. He's getting a little bit up there, kind of like in, Peyton Manning 2-3 years ago, maybe. But yeah, I definitely think Ingram is that guy. He's definitely the number one, and they have enough depth there that they can take the load off him if they need to. But Ingram is just going to be a workhorse. I mean, I don't know how old he is. I mean, he's probably 27, 28.
Yeah. Yep.
So Sean Saunders is high on a injury-prone running back. Okay.
Well, I felt that he was good value.
The 2 words, but yeah.
I felt that was pretty good value. Mid to late rounds, grabbing Ingram, who he didn't quite get 1,000 yards last year. I had him last year, but he was consistent. He was grabbing me 15 to 20 points every week. So
doesn't he get hurt every year?
No, I think he was good last year. He may have missed like a week or two, but Spiller last year was hurt most of the time.
And Spiller's been demoted, so he's like
he might not even stay on the team.
He missed the last 3 weeks of the season. 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah. So he missed the last month.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on to number 9. Your boy, the big man, Mr. Gronkowski. Will grabbed him late, in the first round. Is that a reach? I mean, even though he puts up wide receiver numbers, is it a reach to grab a tight end at number 9?
No, I actually felt like I was shocked Christian, who picked ahead of him, when Ingram over Gronk. I had Gronk going around the 8 or 9, 10 range. He is the only consistent home run bonus hitting tight end in football. Week in, week out, 100 yards or a touchdown. You can bet money on it. So I don't blame Will going for him, at 9, because he turns around and then he can scoop up a running back or whoever early in the second, because we know we do snake order. So no, good pick by Will.
Cool. Yep. I agree mostly with that. He puts up numbers like a wide receiver, so why not? Next guy is a wide receiver, AJ Green. Hayden grabbed him, potential, even a top 3 guy at the end of the year, depending on how he does. What do you think about him, Sean?
Man, I had 2 guys I wanted in the first round, and both of them went away in the 3 picks before me. Ingram went away, and then AJ Green. I love AJ Green. I wanted him more than anything. The way I look at it is, you could have a 3-lane bridge that's now been narrowed down to 1 lane since Sanu and the other guy is gone, and that 1 lane is going to get a lot of traffic. Yeah. They have a solid running game. I think they drafted a wide receiver too. Is that correct? Or
they signed Brandon LaFell. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if they drafted anybody, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, AJ Green is just one of those guys that's like super consistent. He's going to get a ton of targets. And they have, I think they have a very solid offense, a well-established one. Their tight end may be one of the best ones in the league this year. We'll see. And I love it. I mean, I wanted that pick so bad. Unfortunately, Hayden and I also share the same thoughts sometimes, and he snagged him before I could. So, oh well.
Well, we're gonna move on to your pick at 11, Des Bryant. And in my notes, I just have Sean. James,
Yep.
take it away.
Yeah, I actually told Sean I had his first two picks almost. No, we'll get. I mean, I don't know if we're going to do the second round, but I had him going Des Bryant in the first and Matt Forte in the second. And he literally, like, for his second round pick, he went all the way down from 90 seconds to like 4 seconds. And so I was 1 for 2, but I felt like he went Doug Martin just to spite me. But no, I don't blame him. Dez, if Romo can stay healthy, and if Dez can stay healthy, he's definitely a top 5 or 6 receiver in the league. Jason Witten's up there in age, which he still gets targets, but if the game's on the line, Romo's just going to drop back and throw it up to Dez, and Dez has proven it doesn't matter if you double cover him, triple cover him, put your best cornerback on him. He catches touchdowns, and before last year, I'm pretty sure he's went over 1,000 yards 3 seasons in a row before last year. So, solid pick.
So
yeah, and I sent him a tweet before this was over and asked him not to drop it this time, so we're good.
What were you thinking in that first round for that pick, Sean?
Consistency. I wasn't looking for a diamond in the rough. I was looking for someone that's going to get a grade of a B week in and week out. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 picks that were both available 3 picks before that, and they both went off the board, so I had to choose. I knew Asian kid wanted Des Bryant, so I hated to take it, but I had no choice. I mean, with what was left, that was the cream of the crop, and he's a rocket wide receiver. He's a hard worker. Great offensive line. He's going to get targets. It's just a matter. Yes, like I said, Tony Romo can stay healthy. So, yeah, I mean, nothing really special there. I mean, I drafted him as a rookie, got shit for him, went to the finals that year. But whatever.
Nice. Okay, our last pick in the first round went to Asian kid. He took Jamal Charles, who, when he's healthy, he's proven he's in the top 5. Sean, what do you think about Jamal Charles?
NAFTA.
Nice.
He had to get his picks in now. He wasn't getting anyone later, so that was that's what shipped over to him. High risk player, high reward. I wouldn't say high reward, but he could pull off a 200-yard game. That wouldn't be unsurprising, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to be known for much. I think they're falling in the years of mediocrity pretty soon. But and he has great backups. That's the problem. Sondrick West or something, and then they had another guy who I was kind of big on too. Niles Davis, is that his name? Either way, I think he went with the same thing, the best pick available, and so with that, I respect it, and I think I'll have a good year.
All right, cool. So that was our first round draft recap. Next, we're going to actually do draft grades since NFL.com doesn't have them up yet, or they're not doing them this year. I don't know. I kind of wanted to get them from there and then compare them to last year, but since that's not a possibility, Mr. Sean Saunders has taken it upon himself to give us all grades. So take it away, sir.
All right, so I just want to point out before we get started that this whole so-called curse, there's been 4 players affected so far that I recorded. One of those involved Christian, 2 of them involved Barnaby, and 1 involved you, my friend, Josh Barlow. None involved Sean. I don't care what anyone says. Let the emperor do what he does. Control the Senate and still be the peacekeeper at the same time. All right, so I'm just gonna go down the list and give a grade and who I thought was the biggest sleeper and who I thought was the biggest reach. I mean, does that sound good, or do you want me to send out?
Go ahead.
All right, first on the list is Dustin. I have projections on records. We're gonna want me to include that?
Oh, we'll get to that after this part.
Okay. I gave Dustin a B-.
Okay.
I thought his biggest sleeper was Michael Crabtree, who plays for the Raiders, and his biggest reach was Demaryius Thomas. I know I'm gonna surprise a lot of people with these picks. Will, I gave him a C. His biggest sleeper is Devin Funchess of the Carolina Panthers, and his biggest reach is Melvin Gordon of the San Diego Chargers. Next on that list is Sir James Helms III.
No S.
Biggest sleeper.
No S.
Don't even start. Don't even start that.
There's no S.
His biggest sleeper is Dante Moncrief, and his biggest reach is David Johnson.
Oh, what was the grade again? I missed it.
Oh, he gets an A minus. I'm not giving
okay.
him an ever. I don't care. Like, no. We'll get on that another time. All right. So, and then Chris, I gave him a C minus. Biggest sleeper is Arian Foster. And his biggest reach is DeMarco Murray. Next on that list, I have Hayden Wallace. I gave him a grade of an A minus. His biggest sleeper, Martellus Bennett, who is with the
Evil Empire.
That's right, the Patriots now. Big, huge, tall tight end. They like those guys. And his biggest reach was Emmanuel Sanders, another Broncos player. Josh, you were next on that list. I have you going at 5 and 8, which I know you may hate that, but it's an improvement from last season, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I gave you. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to give the records. I gave you a B minus.
B minus. Okay.
you actually had a pretty dang good draft. Your biggest sleeper was Tyler Lockett.
Mm-hmm.
And your big of the Seattle Seahawks, and biggest reach was Jarvis Landry of the Dolphins. And Joe, I gave him a D plus. I hate to hate on him. Biggest sleeper, Tyler Eifert, and biggest reach is C.J. Anderson of the Denver Broncos.
God, they're just not going to win a game this year, are they?
Man, no, they're going to win games, but not on the offense side. Matt, I gave him a B. I also gave him the title of most vicious defense. His defense is phenomenal. I think that's why I gave him a B. His biggest sleeper is Deshaun Jackson of the Redskins. And his biggest reach is Danny Woodhead of the San Diego Chargers, who we took pretty early.
Wow.
Christian, I gave him a grade of a B+. His biggest sleeper is going to be Mark Ingram of the New Orleans Saints. His biggest reach is Pierre Garçon of the... Is he still with the Redskins? Or no, he's with Redskins?
I believe so. Garçon? I believe so.
Yeah,
that's right. He still is.
I still forget he's not with the Colts anymore. And then Barnaby, I gave him a grade of B-. Biggest sleeper is Laquanosaurus Rex Treadwell of Minnesota Vikings.
Of course.
And his biggest reach was... I don't even know his name, Jay Ajayi or something. I don't know, some guy that great on paper, of the Miami Dolphins. And then Jonathan Creamer, I gave him a D. His biggest sleeper was Mohamed Sanu of the Lions. Falcons, that's right. And his biggest reach was Colby Fleener of the Colts.
Saints.
Oh, New Orleans.
Yeah, he came to New Orleans.
Saints. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I think, and I don't think NFL might have upgraded that. I think when I saw the Colts, I was like, man, that's tough. Either way, I that's what I gave him. And then myself, I gave myself a grade of A- on the hope that some of my draft picks are gonna explode and go from nothing to greatness. My biggest sleeper, I'm hoping, is gonna be Sterling Shepard of the New York Giants. And my biggest reach, and I hate to say this, and if there is a curse, we will find out. My biggest reach was Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Washington Redskins. And so that's who I have for everyone's grade, their biggest sleeper, their biggest reach, and we're good.
Cool. Any thoughts on that, James?
I have a couple issues with, you said Dustin taking Demaryius. I get that that's a reach. I get that, but he got him in like the 5th round. He got Demaryius Thomas in the 5th round, so I don't really consider that a reach. You got a number 1 receiver that's put up at least 1,200 yards the past 4 years. And at least the past 3 years. So I don't consider that a reach because he got him in the 5th round. And then Joe Stewart getting C.J. Anderson in the 2nd. They're going to be running the ball because they've got no quarterback. So I don't really consider that a reach. But we'll see. You gave yourself an A+ or A-, Hayden an A-, and me an A-. I agree with 2 of those 3. Figure out.
Of course. I guess I'm Sean. I got to be the Rodney Dangerfield F+ for the season again.
But I mean, the majority of that I agree with. Just a few of those where he said a few of those he thought were reaches. I think even Ajayi, I think Barnaby got him in like the 3rd or 4th starting running back. And this was before Arian got signed, so we'll see.
All right. You said you had the predictions for our win-loss predictions. So if you want to go ahead and take that away.
All right, sure. Let me do the math here. So I'm assuming there's going to be a total of 78 wins and 78 losses based on the season. That's timesing 12 players by 13 games. So that finance degree is paying off. So I gave Dustin a 7-6 record to start. I gave Will a 5-8 record. I gave James a 10-3 record. I wish it was 3-10, but whatever. I gave Chris a 5-8 record.
Love is mutual.
Let me drag this over so I can see this without having to keep looking over. All right, Hayden, 11-2. Number 1 record in the league. Josh, I think I hinted before. I gave you a 5-8. Hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong on that one. Joe, 3-10. Matt, 6-7. Again, that vicious defense is going to be the X factor there. Christian, 8-5. Pretty solid draft throughout. I gave myself an 8-5 record as well. So I'm not quite with the peasants as James would predict, but I'm still still got dirt rubbed all over my face and paying taxes to the king. I gave Barnaby a 7-6 rating, 7-6 record, and then Creamer also 3-10. So
all right.
And I had you have to split up the wins and losses evenly, so I had to readjust a couple so that the wins would counter out, and so. Anyways, we'll see. I didn't want to be mathematically incorrect, and then somehow that's a curse or something. I don't know.
All right. Well, just so you know, and to show everybody, I have recorded the draft grades and the predictions here. So we'll be able to review that, later on. See just how accurate you were at the start of the season. Now I just want to hear from each of you who's making the playoffs. James, what do you think about everybody's playoff potential?
I guess we'll just do. I'll go division. I'll start with our division, which has me, you, Dustin, Chris, Hayden, and Joe. I've got myself making it, of course. I've got Hayden making it. We always end up in the same division. You want to talk about a curse. Third spot's going to be interesting. I've got it coming. It's Dustin, you, Joe, or Chris. And I'm actually on the Nelson bandwagon this year. This is his 3rd year playing. He's never made the playoffs, and he has pretty much thrown it out there that if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, he's not playing again. So, and with that being said, I actually like his team. I'm high on Lamar Miller. He's got Romo and Flacco, who, say what you want, when both are healthy, they're good quarterbacks. And he's got some other players, Amari Cooper, Fitzgerald, Hearns, that had all 3 of those guys had 1,000 yards plus last year at receiving. So yeah, I've got Chris edging out you and Dustin.
Okay.
For the 3rd spot in the AFC. And for the NFC, I've got Sean. He is the Kansas City Chiefs of the '90s. Always makes the playoffs, but never wins a ring.
Got Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. I've got Barnaby, and then third, it's gonna come down. We'll go with Asian Kid.
Nice.
That's my top three from each division.
All right. So by the numbers, we kind of see who Sean is picking for the playoffs. But if you want to run down the teams real quick.
Yeah, I went 2 for 3 on James's pick, so pretty even there. I believe him and Hayden will represent the AFC. And then that extra person, I believe, will be Dustin. That is my guess. It's a toss up between you or Dustin. It says it's gonna be those X factors, and one of you guys is gonna like win a couple games by like 10, 15, 20 points maybe.
Yep.
It's gonna be close. So those are my three: James, Hayden, and then you or Dustin. The NFC, I have. I'm always gonna say myself, even if I get a crappy draft. So I got myself, Christian, and Barnaby, which might be a replica of what we had last year. And then the X factor on that one is gonna be Asian Kid with that wicked crazy defense, man. Yeah, that's him, man. He's the Chad of this year for me.
Nice. All right, so just real quick, I want you to run off who you think is going to be the number one quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in our league.
Ooh. I think you're on the spot, James. I'll let you go so I can like look more intelligent once I guess.
All right, we'll start with running back. I'm gonna be, I guess, somewhat of a homer and go with a guy I drafted, David Johnson. Will shock everybody, and he will be the best running back in our league as far as scoring.
How please?
I feel like he's more of a dual threat than like Todd Gurley. Le'Veon Bell, he's already potentially suspended for 4 games and he's injury prone. So you got David Johnson. Receiver, you got to give it to Antonio Brown. I mean, year in and year out, he is the best receiver in the league. Quarterback, was it Breeze was the number one last year? And we'll go with that again. Breeze will be the number one fantasy quarterback in our league this year.
All right, John?
For quarterback, I'm actually going to go with a little wild card on this one. I think Cam Newton is. I don't think that the offense is going to get incredibly much better than it was before, even though they get a couple players back. So I think there's going to be a heavy reliance on Newton to get a lot of his rushing touchdowns. Running back, I'm still going to go with Adrian Peterson. If the Vikings are explosive, I can't see why Peterson's going to lose. And for wide receiver, I also agree with Antonio Brown. Brendan Roethlisberger loves him. Every player he's loved has done extremely well, going from Mike Wallace to whoever. So, yeah, he's my guy. Or those are my 3.
Cool. All right. And before we started, I asked you guys to make one bold prediction for the season. Just anything that's kind of out there, something that, maybe not everybody else is thinking. So, James, you want to take that one?
One bold prediction. I guess we'll keep it with our bet, Sean. I've got Houston winning that division again, even with a healthy Andrew Luck. So yeah, I've got the Texans winning the AFC South.
Nice, Sean.
My bet is that the Minnesota Vikings will go to the Super Bowl.
That is bold. All right.
Where they were lose to the New England Patriots.
They will go to the Super Bowl. I am content with that for now.
I like it. I got a good young defense, and got pieces in the offense besides AP now. So we finally got a good coach. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Sean, who's winning fantasy this year? James.
I think if I had to make Yeah, the best guess. I'd say Hayden's probably a step up. Hayden, and as usual, I was because I'm gonna have to Rodney Dangerfield it in. Hope I get lucky in a couple picks and trades. But so yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully Hayden and I will fight it out.
All right, James, who do you think's taking it?
I mean, back to back, 3 out of 4, and potentially 4 out of 5. So exactly, exactly.
All right.
I'm myself winning, but if I had to pick someone else, if the injury bug hits me hard and I'm not able to make the playoffs or wheels fall off the wagon, if I had to pick somebody else, I would go with Barnaby.
Cool. All right, so there we have pretty much everything we got today. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
The first trade of the season happened before preseason this year.
Oh, yeah.
This year, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks in before we had a trade happen last year. So
Yep.
pretty big contrast. And like I said, Sean and him and a few others think I'm crazy for doing what I did, but I'm high on Sammy Watkins. I think he's going to have a DeAndre Hopkins type year, barring injury.
Right.
So I don't see any other weapon that the Buffalo Bills have as far as throwing the ball to. I think it's Sammy or bust. But so that's pretty much it. I'm sure more trades are going to happen. Injuries are coming with preseason about to hit. The curse is coming.
Yeah, dehydration, my fault. Sammy the Hammy is gonna fall down, my fault.
Yeah.
Hurts my ass.
But I just hope we have a good year and go Pats.
All right. Anything to add, Sean?
No, I think I did take a couple picks that I think all of my starters combined, the ones that play on game day, throughout the season I will have less than 16 games missed from my starters. So I think that curse thing will be put to rest. Probably not, but yeah, I don't have any faith in Sammy the Hammy over there. So. No, that's it, man. I think it was a pretty solid draft. I think everyone's excited. We all got our weapons ready, and it's time to see who comes out in the battlefield and comes ahead. I mean, there's definitely a lot of X factors, and that's what I'm excited about. And yeah, we'll see. I think we've all hit that plateau of getting the draft done with. So now it's just timing to see who holds on till start day, and then how the players play out. So that's it. I got pretty good.
Last weekend, I believe, was the last weekend until February when we don't have football.
That's an exciting thought right there.
Hall of Fame game Sunday. So.
Football is here, gentlemen. Fantasy is about to start up. I hope you guys are as excited as I am.
Yes.
Hope everybody is, because I think this is going to be just as intense and as exciting as last year was, with how close everything came to at the end. So that's all we've got for this session. We'll be back again. I'm not sure yet when, but there will be more fantasy talk coming. So, gentlemen, keep an eye out for it. Good luck to you, and enjoy your season.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having us, Josh.